Today in class, we're starting the Unit 1 performance task, which you can find in the STEM Schoology course. Look in Unit 1, and then look for the Unit 1 performance task folder. At the top, you'll find the rubric. For this project, you'll be graded on 3 main parts: research and writing, the presentation, and video. You'll see more what I'm talking about once we go to the actual presentation. But the research and writing part, you'll get up to 40 points. And by the way, this adds up to 100 points because this is a 100-point project. You'll get 40 points for doing a good job researching and writing about the following criteria and more. So there's a slide devoted to the introduction, evolution of phones, technological hypothesis, and so on and so forth. So for each of the slides for which you need to do research, if you do a good job researching and you respond thoroughly and thoughtfully, you could get up to 40 points. A thorough, thoughtful response is one where you completely answer the question and maybe add a bit more detail so that there are no questions asked about what you mean and you're providing as much information as you need to do a really good job explaining. If you do a partial job and you give some research and you explain somewhat, but maybe your teacher or classmates have questions, then you could get between 25 and 39 points, and so on and so forth. The presentation part is not you presenting at the front of the class. Rather, it has to do with how your slides look. So, are your text and images on the slides organized, and are the images appropriate? And do they add to the final product? If it looks like things are in the right spot, like the text is in the right spot, and the images are well chosen and organized and they look neat, and also you don't have very many grammar errors. I know you'll have a few, but mostly they're taken care of. Your sentences are capitalized, there are punctuation marks at the end, there are subjects and predicates, and they make sense, and you have punctuation wherever you need it, then you're in good shape. It should be clear that you double checked your work. The final aspect of the project is the video. You're going to create a video, and in the video, you need to make sure that you narrate clearly. So when you're talking, we should understand what you're saying, and none of the words should be garbled or confused. You should be talking at an appropriate pace as well. Don't go too fast, don't go too slow, and your video should be free from errors for the most part. Again, I'm not expecting absolute perfection, but it should be clear that you spend some time making sure this is a helpful video that communicates helpful information and it's easy to understand. Again, you can get partial points by doing most of what I talked about in the presentation and most of what I talked about in the video or less. So depending on what kind of job you do, you'll get a certain amount of points. If you get all the points again, it adds up to 100. Now that we've talked about the rubric a bit, I'll walk you through to the performance task. This is what the actual project will look like. You will have this slide where you have the title. You can type the title here. 2 titles that you could potentially use are Future Phones and Solving Cell Phone Problems. So you could use one of those or you could come up with your own. You'll put your name down here in the corner on that slide too. And yes, this project is going to be independent, but in the future, hopefully we'll do partner or group projects. I won't spend much time on this slide. It's just a table of contents of all that we'll walk through in the next few slides. In the next slide, you're going to give an introduction. So just to give you an overview, we talked about diamonds and why they cost so much and why the way they're obtained isn't always the best. In fact, it can be really bad. And we're going to make a connection to cell phones, and you're going to be thinking about cell phones in the future and how we can make sure we have what we need to continue having phones in a way that is ethical and good, where everybody can have what he or she needs. But on this slide, just to give a little backdrop and an introduction, you're going to answer the following questions in the space below right here. So write a summary of the diamond phenomenon that we discussed during Unit 1. Answer the following questions. Why are diamonds valuable? What are problems with the diamond industry? Are there possible solutions to these problems? And you're going to type your answer here. Make sure you write in complete sentences. On the next slide, you'll be looking at the historical use and evolution of the telephone. You're going to write a brief summary of when the telephone was invented and by whom, and you're going to find 3 or 4 photos of phones over the years. So you'll type your summary up here, and then you'll put the date that the phone was made or that it was used, and then you'll put a picture of it down here. And again, before I forget to mention, there are links to resources to help you with all the different slides So you shouldn't need to go anywhere but this presentation to do the research. And again, the links are the second to last slide. The next slide is technological hypothesis, perhaps the most complicated title, but really one of the easiest slides. Technological meaning technology, and a hypothesis is an educated guess. So it's an educated guess about technology. You have just shown the progression of telephones over the years. Do you think people will still be using phones in 25 or 50 years? And you're going to write your sentence answer here. Will future phones work the same way as today's phones? And you'll write your sentence answer there. Futuristic prototype. On this slide, you're going to open Freeform or some other kind of app such as Sketch of School or Tinkercad or really any other drawing tool. I guess potentially you could draw it really neatly on paper and put it in here too. But you're going to sketch a diagram of your vision of a cell phone 50 years in the future. Then you're going to take a screenshot of your diagram, insert the diagram below, and add labels to the diagram to help demonstrate the functions of the futuristic phone. So you will have a picture of what you think a phone might look like in the future labeled down here. And at the bottom of the page, you're going to write 2 to 3 sentences to describe the unique features of your design. And you can type that right here. Use of metals in cell phones. On this slide, you'll observe that there are a number of rare metals used in modern phones. So you're going to research to find 4 rare metals used in phones. You'll put the name of each metal in the white boxes here. And then next to the boxes, you're going to list where these metals are commonly found. Getting closer to the end here, on this slide, you're going to discuss the impact of mining in a video. Cell phones use specific rare metals. These metals are hard to find and are mined from the earth. Research the environmental and socioeconomic impact of mining for metals. Record a video of yourself explaining the effects of mining metals for phones and insert the video on this page. I can give you more detail about how to do that when we get closer to that point. And then regarding the ongoing need, you're going to answer the following questions in 7 to 10 sentences. Explain your thoughts. Do you expect that the need for rare metals used in phones will be a continuing challenge? Will we always be able to find the metals we need? Is there a more ethical way to get the metals needed? And again, you're going to write in 7 to 10 sentences your response to those questions in this box. So that's the layout of the project. Now that you know that, here's the time frame for the project. You'll have some time today to begin. Since I've just laid out an introduction, you'll have about half a class period to work on it. And then tomorrow is an early dismissal day, so you have a little more time. So I recommend you get the introduction slide done on today and tomorrow, or I should say between today and tomorrow. Then you have Friday and Monday off. So on Tuesday the 15th, that'd be a great day to get the historical use and evolution of the telephone completed. On the following day, you can complete your technological hypothesis. That should be a really easy slide. You're just writing a sentence for each. And then you can move on to future prototypes. So this is where you're going to make your futuristic prototype and create the design and label it. So you probably can get that done on the 16th and maybe wrap it up at the beginning of the 17th. On the 17th, we'll move on to the use of metals in cell phones and complete that slide. And then on the 18th, you can begin your video. Your video might take a couple of days because you're going to have to research and plan it out, and then you're going to have to record and edit it. So I'm leaving the 18th, Friday the 18th, and Monday the 21st to get that done. And then finally, the part where you're going to do the most writing is the ongoing need, and that needs to be completed. And I'd recommend that you complete that between the 22nd and the 23rd, which gives you about 2 days to get that done. And then you have a couple days to double check your work, or should you need more time, you have some time to get that done as well. So for today, what I'd recommend you do is go and type your title in here, like the titles I showed you a moment ago. Future phones, solving cell phone problems. Either of those would be fine, or you could come up with your own, and then write your name down here, first and last name, please. And then I would recommend that for today, you begin typing out, or working on, I should say, the introductory slide. If you need help for this slide, I have added a video to the Unit 1 Performance Task folder entitled Diamond Mining Videos. These are the videos that we used when we worked through the introductory slides, or I should say, the Unit 1 Introduction Phenomena slides. So you can check out these videos to help you answer the questions, and you can also go back to your slides.